What if your favorite dark chocolate could help you stay biologically younger, not just happier? Scientists at King's College London found that people with higher levels of a cocoa compound called theobromine in their blood often had a younger biological age than their actual years. Biological age tracks how well your body's working, using DNA tags and telomere length, not just your birthday. Across more than 1,600 adults in 2 European cohorts, higher theobromine was linked to slower epigenetic aging and healthier aging markers. It is not a license to binge on chocolate, but this research suggests that molecules in cocoa might quietly support long-term health deep inside our DNA. To understand why theobromine is exciting, it helps to zoom in on the idea of biological age. Instead of counting birthdays, researchers look at tiny chemical tags on DNA called DNA methylation and at telomeres, the protective caps at the ends of chromosomes that wear down as cells divide. These epigenetic markers act like a molecular health logbook, showing whether your tissues are aging faster or slower than expected for your calendar age. In the dark chocolate study, the same tools that usually predict risk of disease and even time to death were used to see how lifestyle-linked molecules, including theobromine, line up with the pace of aging. By mapping DNA methylation patterns and telomere-related signals across hundreds of people, scientists could estimate who was biologically older or younger, and then test which circulating compounds might be nudging those aging clocks in a healthier direction. Now that you understand how these aging clocks work, let's see what the King's College London study actually discovered about theobromine. This study did not look at just a handful of people. Scientists analyzed a total of 1,669 adults from 2 independent European cohorts to test whether a dark chocolate molecule called theobromine is really linked to slower aging. The TwinsUK cohort included 509 individuals, and the KORA cohort added another 1,160, all with detailed blood tests to measure theobromine and markers of biological age. When researchers plotted theobromine levels against grim age acceleration, which captures how fast someone is aging at the molecular level, higher theobromine was consistently linked to lower grim age acceleration, meaning a younger biological age. They also found that higher theobromine was associated with longer DNA methylation-based telomere length, another signal of slower aging in the body. Crucially, when they adjusted for other cocoa and coffee metabolites, including caffeine, theobromine was the only compound that kept this strong association with slower biological aging, and the pattern was replicated in both cohorts with very strong p-values. The graphs behind this dark chocolate study actually show circulating theobromine levels are significantly associated with reduced epigenetic age acceleration measured by grim age and with longer DNA methylation-based telomere length called DNA MTL. On the left, as theobromine levels go up, grim age acceleration clearly goes down, which means slower epigenetic aging at a younger biological profile. On the right, higher theobromine levels line up with higher DNA MTL values, indicating longer telomeres, which are linked to healthier aging and lower risk of age-related disease. In both graphs, the data points from the TwinsUK and KORA cohorts follow the same trend, and the p-values are extremely small, well below typical significance cutoffs. Together, these visuals make the case that theobromine stands out as a cocoa compound whose blood levels track with slower biological aging deep in our DNA. Why does theobromine, the dark chocolate molecule, beat even caffeine in the anti-aging race? In this study, theobromine stood out as the only methylxanthine consistently linked to slower epigenetic aging, even after research is adjusted for other cocoa and coffee compounds. When scientists compared theobromine with caffeine, theophylline, paraxanthine, and 7-methylxanthine, the effect was specific to theobromine. The other methylxanthines did not show the same strong relationship with biological aging markers. This fits with earlier work where theobromine has been connected to a reduced risk of heart disease in humans. In model organisms like the tiny worm C. elegans, theobromine has also been linked to extended lifespan, suggesting that this cocoa alkaloid may tap into deep, conserved pathways that control how fast bodies wear out over time. Here's how a dark chocolate molecule might quietly turn down aging in your cells. Theobromine is an alkaloid found in cacao, and this study suggests it can influence biological aging by interacting with the epigenetic system that controls how genes are switched on or off. Epigenetics does not change the DNA code itself. Instead, it adds or removes tiny chemical tags on DNA, a process called DNA methylation, which can change how active certain genes are as we grow older. Theobromine appears to be one of those plant compounds that can tweak these epigenetic marks, nudging gene activity in a way that lines up with slower epigenetic aging and longer DNA methylation-based telomere length. This helps explain why higher blood levels of theobromine were linked to people who looked biologically younger than their real age in both European cohorts, and why researchers now see cacao as a source of everyday molecules that may help support healthier, longer lives. Imagine a tiny youth potion for your genes. Theobromine is a cocoa alkaloid that interacts with cellular systems to help regulate gene activity at the epigenetic level. Instead of changing your DNA code, it seems to influence how certain genes are switched on or off, especially those linked to aging and long-term health. In this research, higher levels of theobromine in the blood were associated with slower epigenetic aging and markers of better health, suggesting that it may help turn down aging genes and support longevity on a molecular scale. As Professor Jordana Bell from King's College London explains, these findings link a key component of dark chocolate with staying younger for longer and show that everyday foods may hold real clues to healthier, longer lives. Here's where the science gets very real for everyday health. In this study, the anti-aging signal from theobromine was actually strongest in people who smoked in the past or still smoke, suggesting that higher theobromine levels may help counter some of the epigenetic damage linked to tobacco use. The association between theobromine and slower epigenetic aging in smokers was highly significant, with a p-value below 2.2 times 10 to the minus 16, which is far beyond the usual threshold researchers use for strong evidence. Beyond aging clocks, previous human studies have connected theobromine with cardiovascular benefits, including lower blood pressure, improved cholesterol levels, and better insulin sensitivity, all of which reduce the risk of heart disease. Taken together, these real-world findings position theobromine as a cocoa molecule that not only tracks with younger biological age, but may also support heart and metabolic health, especially in higher-risk groups. Before you reach for a giant chocolate bar, here's the fine print behind the theobromine story. Yes, higher blood levels of this cocoa compound were linked to slower biological aging, but real-world chocolate also comes loaded with sugar, fat, and extra ingredients that can cancel out many of those potential health gains. The researchers stress that their findings do not mean people should eat unlimited dark chocolate. Instead, the study points to theobromine as a clue molecule that helps scientists understand how everyday foods might influence aging at the molecular level. Dr. Rami Saad notes that this type of research could open doors to big discoveries in aging and rare diseases, while Dr. Ricardo Castera emphasizes that large population studies are crucial for testing how food-based compounds affect our genes over time. So for now, the takeaway is simple. Enjoy dark chocolate in moderation, stay tuned for more data, and remember that theobromine is a piece of the healthy aging puzzle, not a free pass to binge on sweets. If you want to tap into theobromine's potential anti-aging benefits, the goal is not more candy, but smarter cocoa. Researchers link higher blood levels of this cocoa alkaloid with slower biological aging, so the most logical food sources dark chocolate are pure cocoa that is rich in real cocoa solids rather than sugar and fillers. Choosing bars with at least 70% cocoa or using unsweetened cocoa powder gives more theobromine per bite and avoids much of the extra sugar and fat that can harm long-term health. Because this is still early-stage science, experts recommend small, consistent amounts from quality sources instead of large doses, and they emphasize that theobromine should sit inside an overall balanced diet, not replace other heart-healthy habits. Think of it as upgrading your chocolate choice to a more concentrated, minimally processed form that fits into a lifestyle aimed at supporting healthy aging, cardiovascular health, and metabolic balance. Here's the big picture on dark chocolate and aging, and what to do next. Across two large European cohorts, people with higher blood levels of the cocoa molecule theobromine tended to show slower epigenetic aging, meaning their biological age looks younger than their birth age when measured with DNA-based clocks and telomere markers. These effects held up even after researchers adjusted for other coffee and cocoa compounds, suggesting that the signal is specific to theobromine and may reflect a unique pathway that links cocoa intake to healthier aging. For you, the practical takeaway is to treat high cocoa dark chocolate or pure cocoa as a mindful, occasional addition to an overall healthy lifestyle, not as a magic bullet. Pair small amounts from quality sources with regular exercise, good sleep, and balanced nutrition. Think of theobromine as an intriguing new tool in the healthy aging toolkit, one that works best alongside proven habits like movement and stress management, but definitely not smoking. This episode is based on a peer-reviewed population-based research by Rami Saad and colleagues, and for deeper details, check the full paper in the journal Aging and the summaries on bioRxiv and Science Daily.
Subscribe to BioTuberOnline and unlock unlimited potential to improve every aspect of your health. Find real solutions for weight loss, blood sugar management, heart health, and mental resilience. Plus, science-driven answers for balancing hormones, boosting immunity, supporting healthy aging, optimizing digestion, managing pain, and preventing chronic disease. Learn to recharge your energy, enhance sleep, sharpen memory, and build strength through trusted fitness routines and nutrition plans grounded in the latest medical research. Explore topics like gut health, stress reduction, inflammation control, women's wellness, men's health, skincare, mindful living, reproductive health, bone and joint care, and integrative therapies. No matter your age or goal, this channel simplifies cutting-edge studies and expert insights, offering practical tips for total wellness, physical, emotional, and social. Join the BioTuberOnline community for step-by-step guidance, actionable strategies, and daily motivation you can rely on. Subscribe now for evidence-based content and never miss an opportunity to thrive in every area of your life.